Justin Igor just unlocked a new relationship fear in me. Can you imagine being engaged to someone and them thinking that you're not exclusive? Oh wait, did that just happen to Nikki Exotika? Yes, it did. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to Nikki Faces Reality. I'm Nikki, and we are here to talk about Nikki Exotika and Justin Igor in the latest episode of 90 Day Fiance. If you're new here, I post recaps and commentary on all things 90 Day Universe, and can't get enough of those. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss on any of my recaps. I also want to add a disclaimer before I get into these two. Not a therapist, I am not a counselor. These are my opinions off of what is being shown in this reality show. I encourage everyone to leave comments based off of what we're discussing, and you can certainly disagree. However, keep it cute, or keep it mute, or I will mute you. But don't be nasty. Don't be rude. Don't come at my appearance because you feel a certain way about yourself. That's not going to slide here, okay? Let that be a warning. So that's my disclaimer. Let's get into the messy relationship that is Justin Igor's and Nikki Exotika. These two took me for a ride in this episode. So we start at a sort of high, right? We see them at a cooking class. So these two are having some sort of like staycation. They're in this really cute little cottage looking place. They're in this place that honestly looks like it was ripped out of a fairy tale. It's very cute. It looks like the village that Belle walks through in Beauty and the Beast. And they're determined to have just a romantic time together. At least that is Justin Igor's objective, right? They're at this cooking class. And before they pan to the class, we see him talking to the producers, and he is as giddy as could be because he's like, we got lucky a second time. I was like, okay, this is a very interesting nugget to drop right before they go into this cooking class, okay? Because they didn't give us a lot of context, aside from the fact that they were, in this nice hotel room together. And so they're in this cooking class. Nikki is struggling because of her acrylics. And of course, she loves to spice things up, right? She likes to put Justin Igor in positions where he's a little shooketh. And so she asks the lady that's leading the class, she's like, so do the men cook for their wives as well? And the lady's like, yeah, sometimes when they want to do something special. And so of course, Nikki loves to just compare. And she turns to Justin Igor and she's like, you've never cooked for me. And he changes the subject because he's so done. He's like, oh, do this. He basically switches off cooking with her. But then he tells the producer, Nikki doesn't cook. She doesn't clean. American women not clean. And I'm just like, touche, because she put you on the spot. You know what? Give her that same energy in person. Don't tell the producers all that. But then he says to the producer, the women there, clean and do those things, and that is arousing to the men, and that makes them want to have sex. Right? But in my brain, I'm like, Nikki sexualizes everything. So if he were to tell her that, I just know that she will pull up in a sexy maid outfit and not clean. So we see them eating the little cute bread that they made, and Nikki's picking it apart and picking Justin Igor apart. He's on cloud 9 because he's like, yeah, like, I gave it to her. And she's like... So apparently what happened was that she got really cute before bed, and she had the intention of, like, making love, right? And, having this moment where they can connect. He was not into it. They go to sleep. He wakes her at 3 a.m. and they have a little morning lovin', but it wasn't how she wanted. She said that it didn't make her feel special and that it was selfish of him because he gets what he wants, but she's not getting the parts of lovemaking that she would want. So she's like, are you doing this to me because I'm trans, or is this just you? Like, are we just not compatible? Which, oh, it's so tough. It's so tough because if he was like that before, I'd be like, oh, that's just the way he is. Like, you knew that. But she says that he wasn't like that before he knew about her identity, that they had a lot of sex. So it really just, it's throwing her off, and it's hard for her to not feel insecure about it. I totally get that. Part of me is also like, baby steps, girl. Like, it took him a while to be, loosey goose with you. He's doing it in his way. Like, maybe let's not make this a fight. I go back and forth between those. But, and then Justin Igor, which I wish that she would get him a book about how to navigate these conversations, because every time he speaks about her trans identity, I like almost choke because I'm just like, oh, you can't speak to people like that. He says to this woman, you're giving me man vibes. And what he's meaning in this moment, based off of the context, based off of the things that he's saying, is that when she is so aggressive and so mean and considers that energy very masculine, that he would like for her to tap into the more feminine energy, like softer, because that is what is alluring to him. And a part of the things that make him shut down is her temper. I definitely understand how someone having a temper tantrum can get old and you may start developing an ick, for sure. But not all the time. I can understand pieces of what he's saying, but I'm just also thinking, I'm like, if I were to be in Nikki Exotika's shoes, I would feel hurt. She's laughing this whole thing off though, so I'm like, okay, like if you're not offended, I'm not offended. She switches gears. And at this point, I'm like, Nikki baby, you're looking to start shit. You are not satisfied. I see what's happening. Getting the vibes, the energy that she came to Moldova with a list. She's like, these things have been bothering me this whole time that we've been apart, and I need answers for every single thing. And I'm with that, maybe on a spread out way, because you're only together for a limited time. And if these things have been a point of tension in your relationship, if you're going to bring up to Moldova a list of 10 things and you're only there for 2 weeks, when do you have time for joy in your relationship? So I'm just like, girl, choose your battles. But Nikki is not choosing battles. This is a war, okay? So she's like, we've been engaged for a year. No one knows. Your social media doesn't have a trace of me. When are you going to change it to engaged? I know social media politics are huge in our present day. It's hard to be above it. Like, it's hard not to care. But the girl is definitely nitpicking. And so he's like, obviously I'm not hiding you. Like, we just met my family. You know my friends. I've done a lot. I've showed you to so much of my world. And I've lost a lot of people in the process. He says flat out, he was like, I'm going to lose more people probably when I make it official, when I post it. And Nikki is bothered by it, right? Because, she posts him all over her feed, right? And she's feeling away because she's feeling like she's hidden. This is a lot of trans women's experience where people want to love them in the dark. Well, I can understand how it's easy to be hypersensitive to that. She's very aware of the way that he shies away from showing her off. But this doesn't end up being the fight that I thought it was going to be. He ends up pulling out his phone and he's like, let's do it together. And he changes his, it looks like Facebook status to engaged. I was not expecting him to give in so easily. I was shocked, but he continued to say that he loves her, and that if someone that he knows is willing to judge her, he's willing to say goodbye. Okay, Justin Igor. And so with that energy, they go wine tasting. So Justin is determined to get more romantic time in, and I guess this is, his mission to get her to be more feminine, whatever that means. At the wine tasting place, the guide is immediately judging them. He's already giving them shade when he's talking to the producers. He's like, they're an interesting couple, she's an older woman with a younger guy. I always forget that when you go wine tasting, you're not supposed to drink the full glass. You're supposed to literally just taste. Everyone that I have ever known, everyone that I've seen just in our media, they're always just taking those wine glasses down. And Justin Igor and Nikki Exotika are no different. They are so drunk. And the whole time, Justin Igor's like, I feel the romance coming because he is feeling loose. You could see him be really comfortable in his body. Nikki is giggling up a storm. The guy's trying to talk, trying to give all these facts, and they keep interrupting him, joking with each other. They're asking him silly questions. That poor man cannot get in a word. And so, as Nikki's getting drunker, she's like, dropping her lusty thoughts. Except instead of being like right here telling Justin Igor, she's saying it fully out loud for the room. And the guy's like, that's too much information. And at one point, the guy's talking and these two are making out. And he says at one point that wine is liquid lubricant because these two were like sucking faces. At one point, he just stops trying to educate them about the wine and he just starts laughing. He's just looking at the show. And Justin Igor is so unbelievably loose and funny. And Nikki is talking to the wine guy and she's like, you are officially the love therapist. I think that she gave that guy a little too much credit and she just needs to leave that place with a case of that wine. But we see them the next day and they are super hungover, which there is no hangover like when you've drank sugary drinks. And Nikki is serving the drama, okay? With her glasses on. Justin Igor looks fine. The restaurant, he seems in good spirits. She is moody as can be, which was a telltale sign. And so she's looking at the plate and she's picking at it and he's telling her the different kinds of meat that are on the plate. And she's like, I don't want this mystery meat. I want your meat. And he's like, I like sex. I like sex just as much as you, but I don't like that you keep pushing me. And then they get into it again about the 3 a.m. lackluster lovemaking. Because he's like, I've given you what you want. And she's like, no, I don't want just your meat. I want romance. She's like, I want to see your face. I want to touch your chest. And she does the thing that she does after every fight, which is she gives an ultimatum. She talks like she's ready to break up. And she goes, if you're not into it, if you're not into me, like, we could just be friends. Because you obviously don't have sex with friends, so like, is that what you want? You want to be friends? And so Justin Igor thinks that he's a jokester, right? So he's like, is that what you think? The friends don't have sex? He's trying to be funny, but he doesn't realize that in Crazy Bitch translation, he just walked into a trap. She's like, have you had sex with some friends? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, have you had sex with friends while we've been together? He shows her ring and he points at it and he's like, not during this period. Like, basically not ever since they've been engaged. Not in this period. Like, now while we've been together, right? That's my assumption so far. And Nikki's pressing the issue because she's like, I don't know, like, were you involved with people while we were together? Because sometimes you were unreachable and it's hard for my mind not to go there. And this is clearly a trap. And she's like going in and in. And this man fixes his mouth to say, I'm getting bitch vibes. I'm sorry to say, but bitch vibes are part of the feminine energy that you so clearly want, that you so clearly desire. So be careful what you wish for. And so Nikki's not letting this go. She asks him one more time, have you messed around with girls while we've been together? And again, he points at the ring and he's like, not ever since this period. And she's like, what do you mean, since we've been engaged? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, once I gave you that ring, I've been clear. And she's like, we were together before I got the ring. Was it not serious to you then? He's like, once I gave you the ring, it was serious to me then. That's what I consider serious. And she's like, we were serious before then. We took trips. Shoot, I signed up for the visa before I got the ring. So when I signed up for the visa, we weren't serious then. And he starts laughing. And he's like, I don't dig in your past. Like, I'm sorry. Is it inconveniencing you that your fiance's questioning your cheating? I'm sorry. How rude. Like, that is not a past. This happened while you were together, meaning you cheated. You are a cheater. I did not see that coming. And he was laughing, and I know it was because he was uncomfortable. Because I'm sure he did not expect to have this conversation. I just don't understand how he doesn't understand that he was cheating. I don't understand how he didn't think that they weren't serious before then. And it makes me question again their whole situation. Because remember, when they started out, when we first started seeing them on the show, I was like, this is giving sugar mama, sugar baby arrangement. And so I would imagine for him, if it's an arrangement, it wouldn't be serious until they're engaged. But then seeing them with his family, I'm like, no, they were serious. I feel like I'm missing a huge part of the story because did you guys see that coming? I need to know all your thoughts on this cheating reveal. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And I hope to see you in the next one.